Just how exactly do superheroes get their extraordinary powers? For baseball's best player, it all started in a small town in South Jersey. From the very beginning, Mike Trout seemed born to play baseball. In the blink of an eye, the kid tearing up the Little League diamond was soon creating magic on the biggest stage. The super strength, the ability to fly, the electric speed. It all traces back to those hometown roots, the family that raised him, and the community that shaped him. This is the making of a superhero. This is Mike Trout before the bigs.
Mike Trout! What a play by Mike Trout! Is there anything Mike Trout can't do? Mike Trout has done it again! Mike Trout with another spectacular grab. Never ceases to amaze. Left field, gone, a big fly for Mike Trout, and congratulations on the cycle.
With every day that ticks by on the calendar, Mike Trout seemingly sets another record for the youngest person to reach yet another milestone. Major League Baseball sees young phenoms take the game by storm all the time, but few have ever done it with the explosiveness and dominance of Trout. Only two rookies have ever won the game's MVP award. Fred Lynn in 1975 and Ichiro Suzuki in 2001. Trout almost became the third in 2012, eventually earning it in his third season as the fifth youngest winner ever. To trace the origins of baseball's superhuman superstar, you need to start with his father. Because although you had not heard the name Jeff Trout before Mike's arrival in the bigs, Mike's baseball lineage has more in common with Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds than you might think. Jeff was the third generation of Trouts who lived in Millville, a small glass manufacturing town in southern New Jersey. As a kid, the elder Trout was a star baseball player in the local youth leagues and eventually at Millville Senior High School, where he set several school records. After high school, he slugged his way onto the University of Delaware baseball team and became an All-American in 1982.
Baseball was my first love and had a pretty good career there.
I did play against him. He was at the University of Delaware. I remember they had a compact second baseman who could really hit. Jeff was a good hitter, really good college hitter.
So good, in fact, that the switch-hitting second baseman for the Blue Hens hit .398 over the course of 4 seasons and 175 games. That included a senior season for the ages, in which he hit an astounding .519, the fourth highest mark in NCAA baseball history with at least 150 at-bats. Oh, by the way, he also belted 14 home runs and stole 17 bases in just 53 games. Those kinds of numbers sound familiar? The Minnesota Twins selected Jeff with the first pick in the 5th round of the 1983 draft.
Went on and played 3.5 or 4 years of minor league baseball.
When I got to Orlando in '84, Jeff was a second baseman there, so that's where I first met Jeff. Jeff was, like everybody else is trying to get to the big leagues. He was a hard-working player, good hitter.
And he continued to hit wherever he was. His first season as a professional, Jeff hit .341 with 8 home runs in Wisconsin in single-A ball. In 1984, he was promoted to Double-A in Florida, a promotion that would change his life off the field.
Jeff and I met at a minor league ballpark. I was sitting next to his mother.
I was playing Double-A baseball with the Twins in Orlando, Florida. I was on the on-deck circle, and my parents had come down. I looked over to glance at my mom, and I saw her talking to this blonde-haired girl over there. She was sitting right next to my mother.
And she said, "I've got someone for you to meet." And I said, "Who?" And she goes, "See that guy out there?" And she pointed to Jeff, and I said, "Oh, yeah, okay."
After the game, my mom grabs me, and she says, "Jeff, before you get on the bus, there's a girl over here. She'd like to meet you." So I go over, and I put my hand out. I said, "I'm Jeff." She says, "I'm Debbie." Kind of looked at each other, and she says, do you play here often? And I said, I work here just about every night. And we started laughing, and we kind of went on a couple dates, and the rest is history. You know?
Yes, it is.
So we're a baseball family from the get-go.
Jeff played 3 seasons in the Southern League, but could never earn the next promotion up to AAA. After 4 minor league seasons, Jeff hung up his spikes at the age of 25.
I never really was able to make that big jump. I was kind of a grinder, infielder, and just never got to that next step, get to the big leagues.
Jeff was an offensive player, but a window never really kind of opened up for him. Maybe if he was with another team, they probably would have pushed the bat maybe a little bit more.
He would have loved to have obviously stayed in pro ball, but Minnesota he had Gary Gaetti at third base, and he was an all-star, and to get that jump into the next level was just not happening. The boy could hit, though. Jeff could hit. Man.
Deb and I talked about it. We had an infant daughter, and I said, you know what? I'm ready to move on and start a life doing something else, and became a history teacher and a baseball and football coach for 25 years, and that's what I did.
He just decided that enough was enough. I mean, it was time to, move on, and I supported him 100% in whatever he wanted to do, and we knew we would have a lot of support when we came back to New Jersey also, because he was a great athlete here in town, so, everyone really supported him with getting, helping him get a job, and, because that's what this town's all about. They help each other out. I mean, that is what this town is all about. I loved coming to Millville. It was awesome. Everybody knew each other. You went into the grocery store and you talked with your neighbors, and I really liked that part of a small town.
Like Deb said, small town USA, it's lots of churches, some good schools, and some good tight-knit neighborhoods. People kind of look out for each other here. For us, it's been very good to my family.
Growing up in Millville, you always feel like home.
It's like the quintessential small town when people say that you know everybody and everybody knows everything about you. That's exactly how it is.
It's basically, just a small town that, does everything every other town does, but, not a lot of people know about it. I could walk down the street, go fishing in the pond by the high school, play tennis, play basketball. It's really convenient, just get on the bike and go.
Mike is probably one of the most active people that you will ever meet.
He had one speed, and it was full speed.
Come home from school, throw his book bag down, and go out and play. And let's go out and play. And if his buddies weren't around, it was either Deb or me. Let's go out and play.
Always had dirt on his face. Pants, dungarees usually had holes in the knees where he was, falling and tackling somebody playing football or sliding into second.
He had to be involved in literally everything, and he had to always be doing something. He loves to win.
He's very competitive.
Literally everything we did was a competition.
He'd run to the counter in the kitchen to be the first one down at the counter, first one in the shower, first one to eat breakfast.
You can make a game up, and he will find a way to beat you in it. He will not take no for an answer.
Everything he did, he had to win, and he did. He won.
I don't like losing, so always trying to win, and they all know that.
I remember when we were real young, we used to go to the county fair together. He would always play this milk jug game, and he would play it multiple times a day over there, and he would actually win it so many times that they actually wouldn't let him play it anymore because he was actually getting so good.
They banned him from throwing the baseball at the stacked bottles because he was knocking them all over every time and cleaning out all the prizes. So they banned him from doing that. They stopped him, which is really quite a tribute to, even then, younger, he had such an arm and so accurate that he was great.
I just remember Mike being so furious that they wouldn't let him do it. They wouldn't let him, play that game anymore. The side that people don't see of Mike is definitely his prankster side. I remember growing up, one time we put a walkie-talkie on my grandmother's dog and sent him into her house, and we were talking to her through the walkie-talkie. She's looking at the dog thinking, is this dog really, and we're watching through the window, of course, laughing uncontrollably, and until she started responding back to the dog. Mike is such a light person that he needs to have fun in whatever he's doing, so he is a big prankster.
I still am. Just anything to mess around, scare people in the dark, put, some props up just to, when they open the door in the dark and they see something hanging there or something, just to mess around with each other. And, just always trying to, have fun.
We were all really close. We did everything together pretty much. Played catch, played football, played soccer, anything that we could get our hands on, really. we just did what kids did.
I don't think he'll admit that he looks up to me. We had a very close relationship. We still do. Mike was always, my sidekick or partner in crime. Whenever we did something, we were doing it together.
She had a room with Tyler, bunk beds. It was like a Ninja Turtle bunk bed or something. It was pretty cool.
The house that we spent a majority of our time in growing up had a huge front yard, which was ideal for playing baseball in. And my dad and mom probably told you stories about playing wiffle ball, and home runs would be the woods lines of our front yard. Mike would always be able to hit them into the woods. Everybody would come to that house, and we'd have, all of our friends over and be able to have a huge game going.
It's the greatest feeling, I think, in the world, despite the successes of all of them, that they are still, you get them over here Christmas, you get them over here Thanksgiving, they're just like little kids again. I mean, they treat each other, they're running around, picking on each other, and it's just, they're very close. They're very close, and I think our best job as parents has been that we have 3 kids. They're all kind of different, but they all love each other, and it's real. We could pat ourselves on the back for anything, Deb and I, it's that our kids love each other, and I think they always will. They're very close.
His physical skills were tremendous. When he was on the field, as a 9-year-old, he knew things that the 12-year-olds didn't know.
One of the best moments, probably when he would get his uniform. That was just awesome. The night we'd go down to get his uniform and he'd, everything, he would come home and he'd sleep with it by his pillow or he'd sleep in it, those days were great, definitely.
10-year-old Mike. All I can picture is his Little League uniform.
10-year-old Mike Trout, that might have been getting into his die-hard baseball phase, actually.
When he first started playing Little League baseball, if he had a Saturday afternoon game, you would find him out in the yard 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning for a 3 o'clock game in the afternoon, already with his uniform on, throwing up stones, hitting them with the wiffle ball bat.
Little League Baseball is as much about fathers and sons as it is about baseball. And for a father who played the game most of his life, seeing the same passion in his sons and being a part of it was special.
It's a dad's dream, to be able to coach their kids in Little League, and it was fun. Deb and I had to do a lot of shuffling, because I coached Tyler. Tyler was older, so I spent more time with his team, and then Deb would have to go to Mike's games, and every once in a while, we'd have to reverse it and all that, but we tried to do as much as we could as far as being there for them. So there was always a parent at one of the games, because a lot of times they played at the same time, obviously.
They never would miss a game. My dad would coach whatever level we were on. He was my coach. He was also the coach of Mike's team, and so there was a lot of juggling that they had to do.
There was points that I was standing on the top of the bleachers looking at both fields because I would have one playing here and one playing here, and I didn't want either one of them to feel bad, so I had to, do that.
When I drafted Mikey the first time in Little League, I hit the jackpot because I not only got a obviously tremendous player, and I knew his father, my friend Jeff, would coach with me. I knew that, but I got Debbie as my team mom. And I knew Debbie didn't want to do it, but she always did it for me. Every year she did it for me, and she was great at it. I always made sure after every championship that Debbie got a jacket. They weren't supposed to, but I always made sure my team mom got a jacket because she earned it. Everybody knew Mike already. Nobody knew how special he was as a ball player.
I'll never forget, Deb and I were at a T-ball game. He was out at shortstop, and a kid hit a ball pretty hard, and he kind of laid out horizontally and made a catch, as an 8-year-old. Deb and I looked at each other and said, wow, that's pretty good.
I take pride in everything. I'm always out there having fun, and especially as a little kid, going out there diving. That's one of your dreams as a kid. Making a diving catch and catching the ball.
She kept saying, "Man, he's really good, isn't he?" Yeah, he's really good. So we just never really made a big deal about it, to him. Never told him he was great. Never really did. Just keep playing, keep working, have fun. Keep playing, keep working, have fun.
His physical skills were tremendous. He was fast as lightning. He could hit the ball a ton. He could throw like there was no tomorrow. And he just knew things. When he was on the field as a 9-year-old, he knew things that the 12-year-olds didn't know.
I was playing above age, so I think that always helped me. Playing with one age up. I was always the young guy in the group, so I was playing against better competition, and I think that helped me out a lot.
I knew he was better than most. That was very apparent. There was no doubt that he was always the best player on the field.
As a 9-year-old, I've always said he was one of the 5 best players in the league. As a 10-year-old, he was one of the 2 best. Then 11 to 12, he was a man among boys. The nicest thing about him was he's such a nice kid. He was so much better than everybody else, and yet still super sweet, nice kid, nice 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, just a nice kid.
To be able to coach their kids in Little League, something that dads, really enjoy to do. Those times are precious, to me, and a lot of great memories. When he became like 11 years old or so, he was really good, and Deb thought it would be a good idea for Mike to play against better competition. And I was like, he likes to do this, he likes to, I don't want to run him all over the state playing baseball all the time, but we asked him, he said, yeah.
Mother's intuition is always right. Debbie knew that Mike's competitiveness would be challenged by playing with kids outside of Millville. The Northeast isn't known as a baseball hotbed like California and Florida are, simply because the kids can't play baseball year-round. The winter months eat into the amount of time each year they can spend on the baseball diamond. And so, especially at younger ages, the kids with more repetitions and practice excel quicker. Playing travel ball was a way for Mike to get beyond those limitations and see how he stacked up against the rest of the country.
That's when we really noticed that he was kind of a little bit better than not only the kids in town, but kids in other towns.
He kind of got too good for Millville, essentially, and he needed to start playing against better players, and start playing with better teams, and that's when they hooked up with, the Arsenal team and Joe Barth.
My first impressions were, the kid had all the tools. He was the best player at every position, really. Although we had other kids that were great ball players, he was our best pitcher, he was our shortstop, and he had a very quick bat and great speed. We felt later on that his best position might be center field, but he literally could have played anywhere when he was 13, 14 years old.
Travel ball helped me out a lot. It made it possible to get out of New Jersey and play against kids that are playing every day, playing tournaments, playing Tennessee, Florida, California, Texas, everything. It really helped me out a lot.
It gave him exposure. It gave him the ability to play against better quality competition. He had some great travel ball coaches that were very good to him and taught him a lot.
The kids tell a story about one of the first times he went to a Perfect Game World Series. He was the youngest guy on the team. I think he was 15 on the 17-year-old team. But we had a real good group of guys, and the first couple batters played professionally, and they went up and faced Garrett Cole. He was from California, and he was 97 miles an hour in high school, whatever. But the first batter, he went up 3 pitches, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, and our kids were supposed to come back and tell the on-deck hitter what he's throwing, and the on-deck hitter said, "What's he throwing?" He said, "I don't know, I didn't see it." And then the second guy went up, fastball, curveball, and the curveball, Garrett Cole's curveball was as good as you could see for a high school kid. Again, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. He comes back and tells Trout, the guy really throws hard, and, the curveball's wicked. And with that, Michael goes up. I think he took 1 pitch, and he swung at a pitch, and saw his fastball, saw his curve, and then he jacked one off of Garrett Cole off a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. And when he came back, he told the cleanup hitter, he's sneaky fast, but his ball's straight, and his curveball's big and loopy. And sitting in the stands, his curveball was sick. It was ridiculous. His fastball, and he threw bullets. But he's got something going for him in the vision thing, too, because he literally sees the ball better than normal people. And everybody laughed. because they said, he said that curveball was big and loopy. He said that. My God, he must have eyes like an eagle.
So when you have that love for the game and you have the work ethic that he did because he wanted to be the best, and then you've got the natural skills that he had, and then you come from that environment where they're already nurturing and developing that baseball mindset, which certainly came from Jeff and Debbie. Debbie certainly knows a lot about the game. That's what you get. You get Mikey Trout.
As an opposing team, you walk up and there's more scouts than fans, and they're all here to see some kid on the other team. You know, they would take a step back and, you know, look around and say, wow, you know, all these guys are here for him.
I played baseball with him for 2 years. He was on the varsity team as a freshman, so we fished in high school. We did everything. We hung out. Everything's competition, though. I'm getting the bigger fish. I'm getting the most touchdowns. I'm getting this. I'm getting the most hits. I mean, he was like third on the team as a freshman in hitting. I think he led the team in hitting. So it was fun. There was always competition.
When people see Mike Trout in person, the first thing a lot of them think about is that he looks like an NFL running back. 6'2", 235 pounds of solid muscle. And Mike was a good football player as a kid, but it wasn't his best sport besides baseball.
He was a really good basketball player. I mean, he played football until he was a sophomore in high school, but he played basketball all the way through. Loved basketball, great basketball player, all conference, all South Jersey basketball player, very, very good, talented player.
We're out there playing, and all of a sudden he'd come out and he wouldn't miss a shot. He was dunking before everybody else was. Just like he's bigger than everybody else, bigger, faster, stronger than everybody else. Just like, I mean, see it now.
I'll never forget one time we were all playing a pickup basketball game, and we were playing full court 5-on-5, and he just was relentless. And you see this 14, 15-year-old kid go up and dunk a basketball on an 18-year-old, and you're like, what is going on? This kid's different.
And perhaps if Jeff Trout had been a basketball player instead of a baseball player, Mike would be starring for the Los Angeles Clippers right now. But more than 30 years before Mike was attending Millville High School, Jeff was a star baseball player for the Thunderbolts. After he retired from the minors in 1987, Jeff became a history teacher at Millville and eventually the head baseball coach. Jeff eventually turned over the reins to the baseball program to Roy Hallenbeck, and it was Roy whom Jeff entrusted with the development of his son Mike.
Jeff, as a head coach here, actually I took over for him when he stepped aside. So if anybody had a reason to kind of stick his head in the locker room and find out what was going on, it was Jeff. And he didn't really do that. You know, he would obviously just, because he works here and everything, he'd be around. But he was as hands-off as they came and really stepped back and let us coach Mike.
As he got to high school, you know, we kind of groomed him to, if you keep doing well, you might get money for college. You might get a college scholarship. That was our big goal. We never filled his head with those tremendous expectations, you know, just go out and play, have fun. If you like it, work at it, you know, and do what you want to do.
He was small. I mean, it's hard to look back and remember that. At first glance, it was like he's just a little kid running around.
I was pretty tiny. I was like 5'3", maybe like 110, 15 pounds.
He looked like a 7th grader, but he didn't play like that.
This little skinny kid compared to what he is today, a little scrawny freshman, as fast as can be. He just always outworked everyone, and he just wanted to be the best at whatever he was doing.
By the time his freshman season ended, he was, you know, one of our toughest at-bats in the lineup. What's funny is he was playing shortstop and pitching. So, and the odd thing is, I think he or his father would be the first one to tell you, as a pitcher, he was one of the best pitchers in South Jersey, but he didn't really project out as a pitcher just because he didn't have the build and he didn't really have the secondary pitches, but he was just a dominating pitcher on the high school level. And he was shortstop. And he didn't really project out there either because he didn't have the slick actions and things. He just out-athleted the position. So in high school, he only played 1 year of center field. And that's when we got a little glimpse of what he might look like down the road. But him as a high school player is completely different than what he ended up being. It was just clear. He was not the most polished player on every field, but he was by far the best athlete on every field he was on.
When you look at him initially, physically, you think that's not a normal, fluid, athletic body. Because he was more of a muscular player and more of almost like a football player, you automatically equate that to not being as smooth as, kind of a graceful Darryl Strawberry type player. But actually, he's not that way. Because look at him, the other day in the Red Sox game, how he slid around the guy and moved his leg and his arm and got him. That's, a rigid person doesn't do that.
He was in Tom's River, and there was a scout there from the Yankees, and he asked if he could have Mike fill out one of these cards. So we filled out one of these cards, and I guess it was to get all his information and stuff. Right away, we started like hearing from different teams and stuff like this, and I was like, oh my goodness, like something is, like I always knew he was very good, but like you never expect, you always think that the major leagues is like out of reach, But I think Tom's River was when it really started, and then it just snowballed from there.
Later in high school, especially his senior year, there were so many people at a Millville baseball game that were like record-breaking numbers.
A lot of people in town would come out and watch him play as the word got out about how good he was.
We were in uncharted territory senior year. I mean, high school coaches don't normally, deal with this, a first-round draft pick, a national type of player.
Going into a senior year, it was hard not to know who he was.
When scouts and stuff were coming to games and you're getting all these letters in the mail, just anxious to get home to see, what came in the mail that day. Thought that was pretty cool.
Sometimes it's crazy, sometimes there's 30, 40, scouts, which for a position player, that's quite a lot.
It was different at first, but, over the course of the time, you're getting calls from everybody, sitting down and eating dinner with, directors and scouts and just getting a feel of things. And it was some pressure, but, once you, like I do now, let's go out there and play. Don't worry about the pressure and just go.
He got a legend around him by that point because everybody knew, especially his senior year, as an opposing team, you walk up and there's more scouts than fans, and they're all here to see some kid on the other team. They would take a step back and, look around and say, wow, all these guys are here for him. And their coach had to yell at him, get down the line, get loosened up, don't stand here and watch, because they all wanted to see Mike hit.
I remember when Cherry Hill came down, their coach yelled at him because he was taking batting practice and he was hitting home runs, and they were all like gawking out of the dugout, and the coach basically said, okay, enough of this, go down the right field line, turn your back to the batting practice and go play catch or whatever.
The coaching staff we had, they were great guys. When they tried to intimidate him a little bit, they would let me hit a couple more pitches, so I just try to hit homers.
I don't think it ever hit me how good he really was, because he always was still just my brother, and I never really put two and two together, because when he came home, after, hitting the state record in home runs, when he came home, he was still Mike, and we would still do the same things. It never fazed him, and so I never really put it together that he could be something really good.
Every time the scouts came around, which is just about every day, but every time we get a report, his stock was going up. From what they said and from what we saw, it was not his ability that made the stock go up. It was the fact that they were around him every day. We had some bad weather that year, so they would see him at really off times. They'd come into school here, they'd see him in the gym. They'd just pop in, and he didn't know they were coming. And they saw these intangibles. They saw the way he worked with his teammates and just what he was doing when nobody was watching, that sort of thing. And I think that just completely blew his stock up, the off-field things. And, they were right. He's got all those qualities.
When he was 16 or 17, he was as good as anybody I've ever seen. Things come easy for him, but at the same time, he works harder than most people, and he has instincts. Like a lot of major league teams try to take a guy with blazing speed and try to turn him into a baseball player. He was a baseball player with great instincts who just happened to have world-class speed.
By the halfway through the year, I would go to the games, not to really evaluate, but just to kind of, you're just hoping that you're counting the teams off. Maybe this team won't take him, this team's got, maybe we'll go with pitching, this team might go with college player, and you're trying to X off all the teams in your mind what direction it may go. I mean, you don't know completely, but you're hoping.
It went so quick. Had so much fun doing it. You can't take away, 4 years of high school. It's pretty cool.
We have a home run derby at our last organized practice is a home run derby, and the seniors set it up and everything like that. And the guys, they had to set up rules for Mike so that it would be fair. So they made him hit left-handed. So he went out there left-handed, and I think, I may be wrong, but I think they made him use wood also. So he had to use wood bat, hit left-handed, and he won our home run derby.
They were just like, you know, you got to hit lefty, and just to, you know, give him a chance, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, I hit lefty, and, yeah, I won.
As great a baseball player as Jeff Trout was, by the time Mike's senior year at Millville was completed, a campaign that saw him set the New Jersey state record with 18 home runs and break the records for batting average, doubles, triples, and walks previously held by his father, Jeff. It was pretty clear to all that the son had passed the father.
There's no question who the best baseball player in Millville in history now is. It's my son.
It was pretty cool, you know, going to the same high school as my dad and, you know, breaking some of his records. And, you know, just knowing that he you know, went through the same thing, and I followed right in his footsteps. Draft day was, you know, a lot of emotions, obviously. You know, I didn't think I was going to be a, you know, top 10 pick, but, you know, once I got into teams and, you know, got to 20, I was a little nervous.
Mike Trout's senior season at Millville High School had the baseball world buzzing. Hundreds of scouts had come to see him play, and as Major League Baseball's 2009 amateur draft approached, an interesting dilemma arose for the Trouts.
Draft day was pretty crazy. I was nervous wreck. MLB had gotten a hold of us to come up to the studio, and my husband, who, you know, previously knew all about, you know, minor leagues and everything, drafting and stuff like that, he knew that Mike might not get drafted.
Deb said, look, they invited us up to Studio 42 for the MLB draft. It's the first time they're inviting kids, you know, to do it, and this, that, and the other. Why don't we do it?
He said to me, you know, are you sure we want to go up there? I was like, yeah, let's go. I mean, I just thought, hey, this is going to be it. This, you know, we're going and he's going to get drafted. But Jeff was like, you know, Debbie, I don't know if we should be going.
I don't think we should go. How about if he's a second rounder or a third rounder? We're sitting up there on national television and, you know, we're going. You know, we're going. He'll be fine. We're going to go. We're going to go. Okay, so we go.
I'm hoping that you haven't been getting too nervous yet.
I'm getting nervous. I mean, every kid around here, and see where it goes from there. Draft day was, you know, a lot of emotions, obviously. Anxious, nervous. You know, I didn't think I was going to be a, you know, top 10 pick, but you know, once I got into teams and, you know, got to 20, I was a little nervous.
We had that 5-minute lapse in between, and Mike Silvestri texts me and says, we're taking Trout. And I knew when they walked to the podium between that 5 minutes or whatever that we were taking Mike.
Pick after pick was going through, and then finally Mike got the call from his agent, and he said, you're up next, and still can't believe that Bud Selig actually called his name when he did.
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim select Michael Trout.
And it was just like pure joy at that point, because that was Mike's dream, is to become a Major League ball player, and we knew that he'd finally get a chance at that.
Good job, guys. Nice going.
Mike forewent his commitment to East Carolina and quickly signed with the Angels, who shipped him off to rookie ball in the Arizona Rookie League.
When Mike showed up, we see this quiet kid walk in, and he doesn't say a whole lot. He introduces himself. He's very well-mannered and just kind of shy, you know. But when I look at the body, of course, it's not the body we see now, but you definitely could tell that he was an athlete. Once he got on the field, you could definitely tell that, number one, he was a true first-rounder and that there was some talent there.
Jeff and Debbie prepared him well to know that it's not easy out of high school, but Mike wanted to do that. He's a rare case where you thought, this kid's going to hit the ground running, he's going to be fine.
You get these young kids in, away from home for the first time, a lot of them, away from their families, their girlfriends, their wives, what have you. They need someone around them that can help guide them. with him being an outfielder, I spent a lot of time with him because of me being an ex-outfielder. I was able to go out in the outfield and talk to him, doing batting practice, kind of talking through different things of how to go about your daily work. It was tremendous to see him, just the way he carried himself, the way he went about his business, the way he worked. Just watching him, you could tell that there was something special about him.
Minor leagues was, for me, it was tough. 13, 14-hour road trips are, tough on the legs and the body. It's good to have, Bone. He was my coach, and now he's an outfield rover for the Angels. And like yesterday, we were talking about it. Came a long way.
I don't think anybody expected him to excel as rapid as he did. Whatever he did in the offseason, it prepared him for that next year, which was his first full year. And you could see at that point, he started taking off. It was exciting because he was doing some really, really good things. I'm going to say premature because, again, no one expected him to excel as fast as he did.
First time we saw Mike was when he came out here post-draft and worked out. You just saw a special talent. As he grew and he progressed and he went through all the trials and tribulations of minor league ball, you saw the character he has and the foundation. I think that's probably one of the big things that separated Mike at a young age.
I had one goal was, get to the big leagues as quick as I can. Big leagues is where I wanted to be. And, I went up through the levels and, got an opportunity.
One of Trout's nicknames is the Millville Meteor, and it applies not only to his blazing speed, but also to his meteoric rise through the minors. In rookie ball in Arizona in 2009, he hit .360 in 39 games and was soon promoted to Single-A Cedar Rapids. There in 2010, he batted .362 in 81 games before being sent to Rancho Cucamonga, an advanced Class A club. He finished the year with the Quakes, batting .306. In all, Mike hit .341 in his second season with 47 extra base hits, 73 walks, and 56 stolen bases. Trout entered 2011 as the top prospect in all of baseball, and yet the Angels took it slow, starting Mike at Double-A. Playing center field for the Arkansas Travelers, he did everything the big club could have asked of him. In July, he was hitting .330 with 9 home runs and had 28 steals, when after just 2.5 seasons in the minors, the 19-year-old got the call every kid dreams of.
It was in Little Rock, Arkansas. I woke up for some reason, and I look over and my phone's ringing. It was Tony Regan saying, you're coming to the big leagues. It was one of them things I was like, pinching myself, seeing if it was real. It's one of them calls as a kid you're like, you want to do. It makes you feel good about yourself. And parents woke up everybody. They went from, dead sleeping to wide awake. I had a 6 o'clock flight, and it was 2 o'clock, so I had to go to the field. And 2 o'clock in the morning, pack all my stuff up and get on the plane and, play the next night. It was tough the first, month. I was playing every, 3 games. I think that helped me out a lot. Getting the chance to play every day, getting experience, that really helped me.
Drives one out to deep left field. This one's got a chance to get out of here. Gone! For Mike Trout, getting his first career home run in front of all his family and friends here, basically at home.
Once Peter Borges came off the disabled list, Trout was sent back to Arkansas, having gone 7 for 43 with a homer and 6 RBI in his first taste of Major League action. It was a struggle, and one of the first he had ever had on the baseball field, but it didn't take long for him to figure it out. After spending time back in Double-A Arkansas, Trout was recalled by the Angels in August. In his first game back, he went 1 for 4 with a home run, his first at Angel Stadium.
Gone! Big fly for Mike Trout, his first Major League home run at home.
On August 30th, Trout became the youngest Angel to hit 2 home runs in 1 game, and he finished the month 10 for 25 with 4 home runs, leaving Angel fans salivating for what was to come.
When he came up his first year, he sparked the team right away, and he was only like 19 years old. He's a big student of the game. He asks a lot of questions, somebody that really wants to learn. My first impression of him is that this guy's going to be a superstar one day. He wants to learn.
This is out toward right center field. DeShields going back. Slam-a-lam-a-ding-dong. Grand salami for Mike Trout.
During During tough times, a good meal can nourish more than just your body. And so, we offer our $5 fire-grilled combos, handcrafted with fresh ingredients, at a price that's as comforting as the quality. El Pollo Loco.
0. The smallest number can now make for the biggest savings at Hyundai. With 0 interest for up to 84 months. 0 payments for 90 days. And thanks to Hyundai Assurance, 0 worries with 3 years of complimentary maintenance. Leaving 0 excuses to not be driving your new Hyundai by Memorial Day. Get 0% APR for up to 60 months on a 2020 Kona or Sonata and make no payments for 90 days. Only at your SoCal Hyundai dealer.
Many of us are new to the challenge of working from home, so El Pollo Loco is here to help. The $20 Familia Dinner with free delivery, however long is necessary, only through the Postmates app.
After struggling in his first crack at big league pitching, Mike Trout's second call up to the majors resulted in an explosive August in 2011 that raised expectations for baseball's top prospect to make the Angels roster out of spring training in 2012. But illness derailed those plans as a virus caused him to lose nearly 20 pounds, curtailing his activities during spring training. So instead of Anaheim, Trout headed for Salt Lake City. Trout treated Salt Lake Bees fans to 20 magnificent games, batting over 400 in what everyone knew would be his final stint in the minors. On April 27th, the Angels called Trout up again, stuck him in the leadoff spot for the rest of the season, and the kid never looked back. By the middle of May, he was hitting over 350 and would never fall below 300 on his way to the All-Star game, and then AL Rookie of the Year honors. Halfway through that rookie campaign, Trout was already one of the most recognizable faces and names in the game. And since that dynamic breakout season, he has only gotten better and better every year.
That's an unbelievable play by Mr. Mike Trout.
What he did his first full year was very impressive. I mean, Trout, he's staying consistent, but yet getting better. I mean, he's consistently the best. You talk about a guy who's the MVP, one of the best talents in Major League Baseball. He's a 5'2" player. People say, hey, what's the difference between Miguel Cabrera and Mike Trout? They're totally different players. You know, Miggy can hit, he can do what he do. Trout does everything. He can run, he can throw, he can play defense, he can create things, he has great instincts. Trout, yeah, he's my favorite player in Major League Baseball right now.
MVP award winner, Mike Trout.
A walk-off big fly for Mike Trout. Light that baby up. Gone, a big fly for Mike Trout. And congratulations on the cycle. Cole takes off. Back is Rasmus at the wall. Gone, a big fly for Mike Trout. Number 100 of his career for Mike Trout.
My 2 years I played with him, I've noticed that he asks a lot of questions because he wants to be the best. Then just watching him the last 2 to 3 years being gone, I'm watching him on TV, I'm texting him, I'm talking to him on the phone. I think he still wants to learn. You know, the reason why I'm still around is because I'm always learning. Every year I learn something new and I figure out something different. There's a little saying, you gotta wanna succeed as bad as you wanna breathe. Trout is that guy.
Anytime players respect you, you know, when they're growing up, I guess, it makes you feel good. He's gonna have a bright future. I mean, obviously he's playing well now, but he's gonna be in many of these throughout the course of his career.
Mike, congratulations on winning the Ted Williams Most Valuable Player Award. You've represented our sport just extraordinarily well, and we're all proud, and you got, I think, many of these ahead of you, but congratulations, well deserved. Thank you.
When he's on a stage like he was at the All-Star game or on national TV, fans get glimpses of what he can do in small snapshots. We see it every night and how his speed shows up to help us win a game, how his power shows up, his hitting ability in the batter's box, his defense in center field. All the things that add up to winning a game, he brings every night.
This is out toward right center field. DeShields going back. Slam-a-lam-a-ding-dong. Grand salami for Mike Trout.
It's amazing, but there's always something he does that helps you win a ball game.
After finishing second in the AL MVP voting, both as a rookie and the following year in 2013, the baseball writers finally caught on to what everyone else already knew. Mike Trout was the best player in baseball, and he was honored with the 2014 AL MVP trophy.
How does it feel to finally claim your first MVP?
It feels great. Yeah, everyone's out back. They're all cheering. I got family here. It's something special for sure.
That day was pretty exciting. I bought the cake, and the cake said, "Congratulations on a great season," but in the drawer where the cake was, I had MVP in black letters, and I thought, if he wins it, we're going to put this on the cake. And sure enough, he won it. So it was an awesome day.
And at the 2015 Midsummer Classic, Mike made history by becoming the first player to win back-to-back All-Star MVP awards.
It means a lot, you know. I try to respect the game as much as I can, play the game the right way, and just have fun. Never disrespect it, and just go out there and give it my all every day.
Despite the stratospheric heights he has hit in the majors, Mike Trout has stayed grounded in his roots. Family and friends are as important as ever, and that was on display in May of 2014 when the Angels played in Philadelphia, the closest major league city to Trout's hometown in South Jersey. Over 6,000 fans from Millville and the surrounding areas made the trek.
Millville night, the first time that Mike came up to the plate, and they introduced, you know, Anaheim Angels, Mike Trout from Millville.
Center fielder Mike Trout.
Oh, that place went crazy. And even the Philadelphia fans, I mean, gave him a standing O. I don't know that a visiting player has ever received at the bank before.
We saw it on the schedule early, so we started working on, you know, what a great idea it would be to take our kids up and watch them. And these are kids that are now far enough removed that don't know Mike personally. He's just a major leaguer just like everybody else.
It was definitely something I was looking forward to. You know, you always want to go back to your hometown and seeing a lot of familiar faces. It gets a little crazy at times because you want to see everybody, you want to say hi to everybody.
That was a really difficult, night for Mike. It was being pulled in so many different directions. I mean, when you got, 5,000 from your hometown there, I mean, there's so many expectations and everything. And he took that time with our kids. They still talk about it. I'll still see every once in a while on Twitter a picture roll through that they're reposting about their, the time when they met Mike, and it was great.
I know I wore this jersey, but I wore my Phillies hat. I had to keep the allegiances on both sides happy, but every time Mikey came up, it was 100% support for Mike. It was a lot of fun.
My little granddaughter, Sophia, she was 2 weeks old when we went to the Phillies game that the Angels were here. So I do believe that she was Mike's youngest fan there.
This town has rallied around Mike. The support is just unreal. You don't get that in a big town.
But it was something to be seen and to be part of the town and to be there with that many people from Millville, like that whole upper ring, of Millville folks up in the upper decks. Beer, baseball, and millbillies, buddy. That was a special night.
They tell stories about guys like him, they're great ones, they always knew. And they're never amazed by what they do because they always expect to do even better. In his mind, I'm sure, the sky's the limit. There's nothing he can't do.
I grew up a New York Yankee fan because of Mickey Mantle. When I first saw Mikey playing as a 9-year-old, I looked at his father, I said, he reminds me of the Mick. Now, obviously, that's silly as a 9-year-old, but he did. He looked like the Mick. He had the exuberance of the Mick. He had tremendous skills. He had the speed. Then when Mike got into the majors and people started making those comparisons, I thought, well, that's pretty cool because I did it when he was 9.
The comparisons haven't stopped for Mike Trout. With each day comes another milestone and another comparison to a legend of the game. But the kid from Millville remembers where he came from and how he became a baseball superhero. The old high school field he spent so many days on as a kid was recently refurbished by Trout and now bears his name. And that name, Mike Trout, is on the lips and minds of every little leaguer and adult in Millville and beyond.
Just knowing that if I ever got a chance to give back, I'd give back and, give the kids an opportunity, better chance of, getting recognized and have the best, condition on the fields to, play well.
Baseball was always something that I've done. A lot of my friends have always done. It's gotten a lot bigger. Everybody looks up to him now. There's teams that he sponsors, the Millville Angels. There's kids that come out to play baseball just because of Mike Trout.
Our kids saw Michael go on. They've seen a lot of our other kids now go on, and they feel like, well, I can do this. Now we feel like we're on a level playing field, and Michael and Jeff contributed to that. That's the reason why so many of our kids are going on the pro ball now.
They tell stories about guys like him, the great ones. They always knew, and they're never amazed by what they do because they always expect to do even better. I have no idea what the future holds for him, but he's going to continue to get better, and in his mind, I'm sure, the sky's the limit. There's nothing he can't do.
On the field, you see him, he has a lot of fun. When you see him off the field, he's so down to earth. Everybody loves him, he's smiling, he gives everybody a little bit of his time. That's when I say that guy's gonna be a superstar. When I saw him off the field and he was just a genuine, nice guy, so every fan that was out there or anybody that wanted to meet him, I really like that about him.
What I respect the most is that he doesn't take anything for granted. It's really easy to get caught up, especially right now in this era, to get caught up in social media, get caught up about, how the media pressure you every day. And you can easily lose that focus of what you need to do, and that's preparation and preparing yourself for the game. And he's done a really outstanding job with that success that he have over the last 4 years. He's like me, he's taking one day at a time, one game at a time, one at a time. And the scary thing is that he just wants to get better every day and learn. And it's amazing, and I had the opportunity to meet his mom and dad and his family. I mean, and I keep telling him how special kids he is.
He's just a pleasure to be around, first of all. He's very, very grounded. Debbie and Jeff, these guys did a great job in creating a foundation in Mike that would make him a success, I think, in whatever line of work he was.
Can't ask for parents. Without them, I doubt I would be here. The way they raised me, the way they kept me, humbled. They always told me if they had to, force me to do something, they didn't want me to do it. And, baseball is one of them things I always wanted to do. They put out so much money, so much sacrifice and time, just to make the most out of, my talent and give me the best opportunities to get drafted and to go to school. They're out here following me every game. They're both retired now. That was one of my goals, when I got here, is let them both retire and, live a happy life.
I don't know what I've ever done to deserve this. I mean, I'm not kidding you. The only thing I can say is that we are truly blessed. It's something that a mother can only dream about or hope for, but I am truly blessed as a mom.
He's still the same kid he was as a 10-year-old. For him to be as good as he is at this point and to not have that go to his head, I don't know what we did to instill that, but my kids are pretty humble kids. I guess he's been around some good people in his life, It's probably the neatest thing to watch.
Yes, the first word to any adventure. But when allergies and congestion strike, take Allegra D, and